Hey buddies, Mike here. Today we're talking about No Man's Sky, and it seems like every time I release a update video on No Man's Sky, they just keep releasing another update. So here we are with No Man's Sky Worlds, and this update focuses on improving how planets look, and boy do they look good. So they pretty much overhauled how the clouds work and how the water works. The water will have like these waves and everything, and let me tell you, this update is just huge. They improved how the clouds look, and you're gonna see the clouds just look awesome. I didn't It's the update we needed, but I never knew they needed, because these clouds look freaking awesome. And even when you're flying into the planet, one of the best clouds I've seen in games, period. It's just, they look very impressive. And not to mention, they've added water physics, so you're going to see waves, and you can actually swim properly in the water. And I remember there was a comment on my last video kind of mentioning that they needed to kind of expand on the water. Well, here they are. They've improved the water. Not only that, they've created new species, so you're going to have different type of creatures on the planet. So they've definitely created more variety altogether. So I'm going to go through the updates as quick as possible. There's a lot to cover, so if this video is a little bit longer than usual, just please bear with me. I want to make sure I cover everything. And the first thing I want to mention is they've added a new expedition, the combat focused expedition, and it's focused on, like, it has this Starship Troopers vibe to it. So I'm really excited to try it out. There'll be exclusive armor sets and all that you'll find in Expedition. And I really like that they're going for more combat focused expeditions. And hey, man, what's cooler than killing bugs, just like Starship Troopers, right? So really cool addition there. And something they added, which I didn't really think they would add, but nonetheless, you can now change the name of your discovery. So different creatures you encounter and stuff like that, even if you upload them before, you wouldn't be able to change the name, and now you'll be able to do so. They've also created dramatic new worlds. So, they'll have planets with floating islands, which is pretty cool. I'm not a huge fan of floating islands, but, I'll take it. I can see the purpose they've done this, just to kind of expand on that variety. So, yeah, I look forward to creating a little base on a floating island. That sounds kind of cool. And I haven't seen it yet, but something about waterfalls coming off a floating island sounds kind of cool. So, definitely worth checking out. And one of my favorite aspects of this update is they kind of overhauled how clouds look. So you have volumetric clouds. There's different clouds for each planet, and it really switches things up. And before you would see the clouds and they all kind of look the same. Not gonna lie, the clouds before looked fine. I'm not gonna say they look bad, but just having that variety, and you truly feel each planet is unique with this different cloud cover. Really huge improvement. It's one of my favorite aspects of this update. And I know in the previous update they were more focused on ship customization, and they kind of expanded on that by now allowing you to customize solar starships. That's a great addition. So if you're playing the game and you notice that the shadows and the world looks a lot better, that's because they did improve the shadows. They actually made it so the shadows actually have new depth and realism. And the coolest thing is that shadows cast by clouds are now calculated in relation to the sun position. So I think that's a huge improvement, and it's really gonna get that extra layer of immersion for each planet. Now, I think the biggest improvement of this update by far is the water improvement. So they've created something called high definition water. So seas, oceans, and lakes now ripple and sparkle with realistic wave formations and foam generation. And if you can't already tell from my clips, the water just looks beautiful. They made it so the water is dynamic, and it kind of reacts to the weather. It has beautiful reflections, and it looks really good. So honestly, if you haven't seen No Man's Sky water, when the game first came out, there really wasn't much to it. It's just there really wasn't much of a texture to begin with, and seeing how far No Man's Sky has come to the water to have waves, and certain planets have larger waves depending on the weather, this is a massive improvement. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. In terms of creature variety, I think this game was already good. So this update actually adds new different types of creatures that you're going to encounter, which creates more variety and just makes every planet that much more different. So not only they improved the water and how clouds look, they actually improved how wind works. So you're gonna see like grass and leaves rustling in the wind. And this is something you're definitely gonna notice. Like sandstorms, snowstorms look a lot better now. Before they all looked kind of the same, but now it looks much better. They've enhanced the visuals of just how the wind works in general. And just the mixture between the water, the clouds, and now they improve the wind. It creates new life on each planet. It's honestly very impressive, this update. They've added something called dynamic water, but the water will actually kind of respond to the weather, right? So, you know, depending on the stillness of the breeze, the violent storms can generate huge waves, and it's really cool to see. So so the Liquidator expedition is actually a community-focused expedition where everyone does their part to take down these bugs, and one of the great rewards is called the Liquidator combat mech. So this is kind of like a really cool looking mech, and it's basically done as one of the rewards for this expedition. I'm definitely doing this expedition to get this mech. And you're also going to notice ice planets and sub-zero worlds look a lot better with that new planet surfaces, with a number of new flora and fauna and mineral formations, you know, bringing new diversity to these snow planets. And just as they improved on the ice planets, they also expanded on the biodiversity of desert planets. So desert planets look a lot better. They've also expanded on the variety of the sky colors, which is huge. I mean, they've already had decent variety before, but they've also, you know, added rare sky colors for you explorers out there. That's something for you to look for, and really cool in terms of variety. And for those who complete the Liquidator's expedition, you get this insect armor set. Not sure how I feel about it. I think it looks kind of weird, but there you go. If you're looking for that insect armor, just beat the expedition, you'll get it. I think I'm going to be gunning for that mech suit. That's way cooler for me. But they added this nonetheless. And to complement the bug theme, of course, they added a bug themed jetpack. So for this one, I'm going to sum it up quick. So they improved how the engine works. So they improved the visuals and performance. They improved how, you know, the rendering of environmental objects. And this kind of leads to more denser worlds. At the same time, you get more better looking, you know, flora and fauna. And they've actually improved how terrain generation works. So this terrain generation before would kind of be taxing on, you know, your system memory and would kind of hinder that frame rate. And they've kind of improved how they generate terrain in this game. Those of you with OCD, they changed how the labels appear. So they kind of restyled the labels and making them more responsive while kind of, you know, providing the critical information without obscuring the view. So you'll see the labels off to the side instead of right on top of the plant, for example, which is a small improvement nonetheless. Another thing that's really cool is they added these new insect-like creatures. They're like beetles, and some of them are friendly and some of them are actually hostile. It just gives you something else to shoot at, right? So really cool that you're going to find these beetles on planets now. Not to mention, there's like a good variety of these beetles. They're not all going to look the same. So really cool thing they added. And overall, they completely improved how storms look. So you really feel like you're on an alien planet when a blizzard or thunderstorm rolls in. They've created new atmospheric fog, and they've also added new ambient effects, and it just creates a great immersive environment when there's a storm there. So huge improvement. And a perfect addition to kind of complement how the variety of sky colors. They've actually added different watercolor varieties. So you'll go to planets that have like really dark red water and stuff like that. So really cool that they expanded on the variety of that. And you'll find some unusual colors on rare planets. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. For you galactic chefs out there, they've actually added 40 new nutrient processor recipes. But we had living ships before, and now, believe it or not, we have living buildings. Yeah, that's right. I haven't seen them myself, but it says here, and in sectors where anomaly field is the strongest, planetary buildings have evolved legs and transformed themselves into sentient constructs that roam across the landscape. Really going to be looking out for that. That just sounds really cool. Kind of odd, but definitely something to look out for. Looks like starship technology in the world of No Man's Sky has definitely improved. So now they have aquatic landing jets. Just a fancy way of saying that you can now land directly on the surface of water, which is pretty cool. On top of this, something I've noticed is when your ship is above water, you can actually see the water react to your ship, which is really cool. And for those of you who need a renovation on your base, this update has you covered. They added skylight base parts. So for builders like myself, it's always a great update when they add new base components to kind of, customize your base more. And this one will be really cool because you can bring the view of the stars in your base. Like varieties, the name of the game in this update, they added atmospheric varieties. So, planetary atmospheric effects are more deeper, richer, and varied, with thick snowfall, flakes of ash and ember, heavy rain, whirls of dust, and storm crystals, all visually enhanced. And I'm not going to cover everything on this one, but they just added a variety of quality of life improvements just from the ground up. Refiners can now be quick filled with an entire stack of items. Core technology can be instantly repaired from the quick menu. Target sweep from the visor has been dramatically improved, but that's just a little bit of what they added. They've added tons of quality of life improvements in this update. And speaking of quality of life improvements, they've added 4 new gestures. So that's one where you kind of ponder the landscape, get poised for action, fold your arms, and burst into energetic dance. And for those you out there who have underwater bases, you're in luck because they've actually improved the view of the water line from your underwater base, which is a cool addition. And they've added now something called noxious worlds, which is a toxic world. Pretty sure they already had that in the game before, but they're kind of advertising that I guess they've kind of overhauled how these toxic world works. So these new worlds have alluring but poisonous flora, while the ground underneath your feet bubbles and oozes with living slime. Sounds cool. So they've actually added another enemy, not only the beetle, but they added something called hungering tendrils. So these are huge creatures that will just destroy you if you're not careful. They have many mouths and they're apparently supposed to be challenging. I haven't faced one or encountered one myself, but definitely look forward to this. And they've also improved on radioactive planets and how they look. I always thought they could have improved in this area, and here it is. So irradiated planets are more colorful and diverse than ever, but also remain deadly exploration challenge without the appropriate protective gear. And just like with radioactive worlds, they've actually improved how scorched landscapes look. So with burnt worlds, they added new diverse fiery flora and superheated crystals, ash-dusted atmospheres, and more. And if you find yourself at night and just looking at the horizon and it looks better, it's just because they've actually enhanced how the sky looks and the lighting color, and the darkness levels vary from world to world. So you'll have different nighttime experiences depending on which planet you are, which is really cool. And those of you like me who are always looking for that paradise planet to build a base, they've actually expanded on the flora on the paradise planets, and they just look so much better. Honestly, I wanted to keep this video in under 10 minutes, but there's just so much to cover with this update, as you can tell. And I'm gonna be honest to say, and I feel like I've said this on my last video, but this has to be one of the biggest updates visually ever. Like, you're gonna go into it and the game's gonna look completely different. And I don't think I've gotten any other update from No Man's Sky where I just go in and you can really see the visual enhancements right away as soon as you start playing, no matter where you are. And so this is one of my favorite updates they've added. I'm really excited for the Worlds Update Part 2. When I say this, I mean this. So if you haven't played this game maybe for like one update or just a few months, this is the update you're really going to want to jump into this, because it is very impressive. The variety, the planetary variety from the creatures, how the water looks from the clouds, you're really going to be impressed by this one. This Hello Games redemption arc is just going to a whole new level. They could have stopped maybe 7 updates ago, but there's nothing stopping Hello Games. They're going to keep improving No Man's Sky, and I'm really excited to how the No Man's Sky Worlds Part 2 update looks. But that's all for this one. Thanks for watching. If you liked my content, and please check out my channel and consider subscribing. It really helps a lot. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one.